Hello again, everyone. So in our last lesson, we created our CSS file and made the changes that we wanted to do. So we're going to continue these changes in this lesson, and we will learn how to add Google Fonts to our project. All right, so let's get started. So this is the final image of our project, and here I just want to create a shadow in front of the picture first. So for that, I'll just use the overlay class, and I'll write in hashtag header ID, then dot overlay in the CSS file. So I write background color, and here I can use an RGBA model. And in addition to the content of red, green, and blue, in case you're going, wait, what's the A? We add in an alpha value. So that's how we'll give a transparency value. It's with the alpha channel. So first up, I will write the color codes that I'm going to use. And then I'll write the alpha value. For example, when I write 0.4 here, 40% transparency occurs. And when I write 0.8, this value becomes 80%. So I'm going to continue to write the alpha value as 0.4. But when we look at the height, it doesn't really cover the page. So I'm going to enter the height to be 100 here. Okay, so that's better. But look at the border. That looks too thick. So let's make that 2 pixels. And now the colors don't really look too nice right now. So what I want to do is change the colors to be slightly darker. Yeah, that looks much better. All right, so now we can make a few changes to the button here. So first of all, I want a little more space between the text here and the edge. So for this, I'm going to use the padding value. And let's look at this issue a bit here on the Bootstrap site. So I'll just click on Utilities and then Spacing. So when we open this place, we see different classes for margin and padding. And if you look here, the abbreviation of M, margin, and the abbreviation for P, padding. Now, when we go down a little bit more, we see top, bottom, left, right, and the X allows us to simultaneously put in values for the right and left spaces, and then Y for the bottom and top spaces. Now we can determine how much space we want to create just by using the numbers from 0 to 5. We can also use the auto value, and as you can see, the documentation section here can be very useful for us when we search it correctly. All right, so now I want to have right and left padding for the button. So for this, I can write px minus 3 in our HTML file. Yeah, the gap looks fine. So now I want to make a few changes for when the cursor hovers over the button. So first, I can use this class in our CSS file and add the cursor feature. And I'll just add a hover and background color. And this color. And sure enough, it looks fine when we look at those changes. Cool. So as we talked about in the beginning of the lesson, it's time to add Google Fonts to our project. So far, we've used the font features that Bootstrap prepares for us, and that's great. But if we want to, we can also use different font features. So let's go to fonts.google.com just by typing Google Font in Chrome. And as you can see, there are many fonts here. And when we look at the ranking, we see the most preferred font feature is Roboto. So I want to use this font in our project too. And now I can just add this font to our project, I'll click on it and mark the style that I want to add. Allows us to make multiple choices here. And then I'll just click on the Embed section on the right side. And I'm copying the link part here, and I'll paste in our HTML file before the CSS section links. And I'll just write a comment in here to indicate that it is indeed related to Google Font. Now, it's because of this link we've included the font that we want to use in our project, right? But to use it, we should also add the font family feature in the embed section, wherever we want it. For example, if we want to use this font feature in the whole project, we can just copy the font family part into our CSS file by typing body. And as you can see, when we add and then view the changes, the font properties have now been changed. And we can also use this font feature in only one part of the page. So why don't we try to change that in H1? And look at that. This time only H1 has changed. But I want to use this font feature for the entire page. Now look, we can also use different fonts here. We can add the link to the fonts that we want to add to our HTML file and add our font family wherever we want. So we can use more than one different font feature. What do you think? Yes, I think it's enough. So that wraps this up on Google Fonts. Now, in our next lesson, we're going to learn how to add an icon to our project with Font Awesome. All right? So I'll see you in the next lesson.